For years, our city has been contemplating the future of the Northwest Quadrant with approximately 8,000 acres of land adjacent to I-80, the International Center, and within 15-minute drive of an international airport, national rail crossings, and a vibrant downtown. It's not difficult to understand the vast opportunity lying right at our doorstep. Modern industry humming, thousands of jobs being created, and products stamped with made in Salt Lake City being shipped around the world is what we are envisioning. Not to mention the incredible sustainability opportunity from protecting open space to realizing renewable energy opportunities. Most of us know the Northwest Quadrant as the location for the new prison. And while we continue to be disappointed by the decision to move the prison to this site, the infrastructure coming online in conjunction with that construction presents an economic and environmental opportunity that we will take advantage of moving forward. Further, this construction brings a responsibility for the city to lead in the sustainable development of the Northwest Quadrant so we can maintain control of the future of this tremendous opportunity. To that end, we are gathered here today to kick off a 2-year planning and construction process which will put into place an infrastructure backbone for the area as well as an economic implementation plan which will help guide future development and growth. Our timeline is aggressive to reflect the awesome opportunity before us. By the end of 2018, a full 2 years before the state's anticipated completion of the prison, Salt Lake City will have a specific vision for the area and the infrastructure resources to allow businesses from around the world to build to suit in what I am confident will be one of the most vibrant light industrial, manufacturing, and employment centers in our region. Though we are officially launching our process today, our teams have been working for some time to lay the groundwork for this opportunity. Over the summer, the Salt Lake City Council adopted the Northwest Quadrant Master Plan, which will help guide all of our future work. I also asked the Council, acting as the RDA Board, to explore creating a project area in the Northwest Quadrant to better align all of our city resources. Our teams are preparing to release designs for the basic infrastructure between existing utilities and new utilities to the prison site. The infrastructure backbone of this area, agreements to protect nearly 4,000 acres of open space have already been made, and we will begin key stakeholder meetings this week to help develop the economic implementation plan, beginning with a discussion tomorrow with the full City Council. I will have the experts speak about the specifics on this project, but I want to highlight what we all know. It's time for us to get to work to make the economic opportunity of the Northwest Quadrant a reality. The state of Utah will be leading the future development at the Point of the Mountain prison site. But in the Northwest Quadrant, Salt Lake City has maintained our leadership, and we must continue to lead this conversation to reflect our city's shared values. But as they say, opportunity waits for no one. And if we stay on track and we work together, the Northwest Quadrant will be an opportunity like no other in Salt Lake City.
My name is Justin Beliveau. I'm the Chief Administrative Officer of the Redevelopment Agency. We're a key component of the Department of Economic Development. So really just want to build upon the theme that the Mayor conveyed, which is that the development of nearly 4,000 acres of property is a monumental and historic opportunity in the history of our community. And utilizing the Northwest Quadrant Master Plan as our basis, we're going to be taking a deeper dive as the Department of Economic Development to understand the economic development opportunity of this unique place. And we're also going to rely upon the input from the brightest minds in our community to make sure that we get this right. We're not going it alone. This month, we're going to be starting that process by convening a series of roundtable discussions with experts in the field of economic development, industrial real estate, transit, sustainability, the owners of this land, as well as our partners in the state of Utah, Salt Lake County, and of course the departments and divisions within Salt Lake City itself. And our focus is really to do three things. First is to understand the economic development potential. The second would be to create a vision for an economic driver that respects its natural surroundings. And the third would be to identify the obstacles we need to overcome to implement that vision. Recommendations that come out of this study will likely include specific zoning changes or putting in place the zoning that will facilitate economic development, recommendations on additional infrastructure improvements and how we finance them, the role that the redevelopment agency and its taxing entity partners could play in that development, and then most importantly, I think, how we can most effectively market this opportunity in order for Salt Lake City to remain competitive. This work is starting now, and our expectation is that it will wrap up sometime in the spring and ultimately culminate in the preparation and presentation of an economic development vision plan to our City Council and Board of Directors for the RDA, and ultimately could potentially include the creation of an RDA project area and the presentation to our various taxing entity partners in creating that project area. So in summary, just wanted to point out that we're turning to our panel of local experts to craft a vision that respects the unique nature of the Great Salt Lake and the surrounding environment, and also creates an economic engine for the city, the region, and the state of Utah for decades to come.
Good afternoon. The Salt Lake City Public Utilities Department supports this effort and is providing substantial support, planning, and investment to ensure the provision of water, sewer, stormwater, and street lighting services to the Northwest Quadrant. This is a generational opportunity to plan infrastructure that supports future development from the ground up. Through this project, we are proactively aligning city infrastructure to support the vision for the area, including land use, economic development, quality of life, and environmental values. The completion of the primary water transmission and sewer collection lines, as well as other critical infrastructure, is scheduled for the end of 2018. This includes 1, new roads that will serve as the main backbone to the future transportation needs in the Northwest Quadrant. These main roads will also accommodate the necessary water, sewer, and other important infrastructure within their right-of-ways. 2, new sewer collection and water transmission lines with the capacity to meet the combined needs of the new correctional facility and development of the Northwest Quadrant. We are on track to complete the basis of design for these new transmission lines by January 2017, with a final design completed in April. 3, upgrades to existing sewer collection system in the west side of our city to accommodate the development of the Northwest Quadrant and the surrounding area. And finally, a floodplain analysis and drainage master plan are in development by the state to support design of the future city stormwater system. The total investment for the construction of water and sewer alone is estimated to be more than $90 million. This investment leverages state and city funding to provide overall future benefit to our citizens. The state's share of water and sewer investment is about $43 million. This is the cost of water and sewer infrastructure that would be needed just to serve the new state correctional facility. To support additional growth and economic development of the Northwest Quadrant, water and sewer lines need to be constructed to accommodate additional use. This incremental increase in water and sewer capacity to serve future needs of the Northwest Quadrant represents the city's share, about $36 million. Finally, sustainability goals are being integrated into the infrastructure design. This represents both a good economic and environmental sense. For instance, we are using this opportunity to enhance the energy efficiency of our sewer collection system. This will save on energy costs in the long term and reduce our energy footprint. We anticipate significant opportunities to incorporate energy and water efficiencies, green infrastructure, and other sustainability options as we move forward in the design and planning processes. Thank you for the opportunity to share our infrastructure work and plans to support this important generational city development.
My name is Mike R Eburg. I am the director of the Department of Community and Neighborhoods. That is a department that handles planning and infrastructure planning, and ultimately all the work that goes into the development of a city, such as building services, permitting, and those sorts of things. In the work leading up to where we are today in the Northwest Quadrant, 3 divisions particularly have been involved in the work so far, and that is engineering, planning, and transportation have been the primary divisions that have been involved so far. Engineering has worked closely with public utilities to really work with the state of Utah to lay out the plan for the backbone infrastructure leading to work with the roads and as you saw on the map, the road infrastructure to the prison. And I'm not going to talk too much about that right now because that's the work that public utilities has focused on. But primarily I want to talk about the work that planning has done in transportation, because as the early planning work that is really the foundational work that everything will be based off of today and going on to the future. August 16th of this year, the City Council passed the Northwest Quadrant Master Plan. And that is the first master plan ever passed for this area of Salt Lake City. And I can't tell you that is what kind of feat that was, because there's been several efforts in the past to try and do that. And this was quite a Herculean effort, and I give a lot of credit to the City Council and the Mayor, who really put a lot of energy and focus to get this done in order to lay the foundation for the work we're doing today. That master plan, as you saw, and with the map you saw, created 4,000 acres of protected lands, wildlife protection, and wetlands protection, as a collaboration between the environmental community, property owners in the area, and Salt Lake City. That's an unprecedented collaboration between those groups, plus created 3,700 acres of developable lands, which we are talking about today. You can see the green area is the natural area, and the other area that was master planned for M1, or manufacturing 1, which is a light industrial zone. So that was created after a 15-month process in August of this year. The next step in that process is now to do a text amendment for the zoning of this area. And the focus now is a text amendment that will sort of talk about how the M1 area is going to be written and how the text will be crafted to sort of deal with the specific and unique areas of this M1 zone as compared to other areas in the city. Because there's a buffer around the natural areas, there will be specific language to address setback areas in that buffered area, and also perhaps some language that addresses the unique nature of the wildlife area, especially related to bird habitat. We might create language that might reduce the percentage of glass on the buildings and reflective glass to protect the bird habitat in the area. That's some of the things that we'll consider in the text amendment writing process that will go through a public process in the next few weeks or next few months. That process is set to be completed in February. And coincides with what Justin was talking about with the economic development work. It will go to the Planning Commission for review and ultimately for the council. Along with that process, there will be map amendments as well to address the actual zoning of specific properties in this area. Considerations there will, do we zone it all at the same time, or do we do it at individual parcels? Considerations there might be Do some people want to wait for their properties to be zoned? Some of this property is in Greenbelt right now. They may want to wait for to zone to M1, that sort of thing. So these are some of the considerations that the planners are working on right now. That process will take place in the coming weeks and months, and the council will hear that. In addition to what the planning division is doing, transportation is also doing a planning with the road system in the area. Right now, it's just empty space with a couple of roads that the state and the city is working on toward the prison. But planning is, the transportation planners are now figuring out what sort of grid system needs to happen in this area to deal with obviously the manufacturing and the development that's going to happen in the area. So what they're going to do is they're going to look at places like the International Center and Centennial Place and some of the existing business parks that exist, run numbers along with some of the transportation modeling that they use to predict traffic counts in the area, and they will come up with a general grid plan for this area in which they will ultimately bring to the Planning Commission and ultimately the council for a master road plan update later this year. They will have a general plan established somewhere in early part of this year, and it'll be reviewed at the same time. So these are the general areas that our planners are working on to get the infrastructure in place and the land use in place. Once that's happened and the development occurs down the road, then everybody gets back involved with the site plan work. The planners get involved with site plan review, and the building services get involved. But that's what's happening at the immediate level with our planners in transportation and the planning divisions.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Vickie Bennett, and I'm the Director of the Department of Sustainability. And as been mentioned, Salt Lake City faces an incredible opportunity as we thoughtfully plan and develop the Northwest Quadrant. And the Sustainability Department is extremely excited to be a part of this. As you may remember, on July 12, 2016, the Mayor and the Council passed a joint resolution stating Salt Lake City's commitment to reducing carbon emissions and in reducing the amount of air pollution in the region. This ambitious vision for our future, which was to reduce, is to reduce carbon emissions 80% by 2040, is achievable. And the development of the Northwest Quadrant will be our first chance to integrate these goals into our planning, development, and design processes. And have no doubt there are many ways that we can do this. Our vision currently for the Northwest Quadrant includes protecting open space, energy reduction, renewable energy, water efficiency, active transportation measures. There are many, many parts of sustainability that will be touched here. These can make the Northwest Quadrant one of the most sustainable new developments in the country, which should attract progressive businesses. So first of all, looking at city-owned developments. Some of the things that we do for all of our city projects include our high building code standards, including LEED Gold and evaluating all new buildings for net zero, which we would do for any buildings that we use city funding on in the Northwest Quadrant. Also including what we call facility commissioning, even once it's built, ensuring that we do regular energy tune-ups that will help meet our energy goals. We'll be installing plenty of electric vehicle charging infrastructure and bike and car share centers, including also on-site renewable energy wherever possible. And as Laura mentioned, our developments will be extremely water efficient. We're going to be looking for opportunities everywhere, both indoor and outdoor, with features that even could include landscaping that eliminates the need for the use of polluting landscaping equipment, so minimizing turf and other things that would require some ongoing high polluting equipment to keep that up to, in check. And as part of our planning efforts, we will investigate ways to create large-scale solar development in the Northwest Quadrant, perhaps finding spots that are in close proximity to electric infrastructure. Curtailing carbon-based energy for heating is another key way to reduce overall emissions, and anything we can do to help to incentivize businesses will be done. Current technology allows buildings to reduce and possibly eliminate the need for natural gas use. And the city can facilitate this by investigating opportunities for district-scale heating options, such as district ground source heating, heat recovery from sewer lines, or large-scale, high-efficient central heating and cooling infrastructure. Smart transportation planning is also critical in our plans for a sustainable Northwest Quadrant. The city will have the opportunity to work with UTA to provide for convenient transit service from both east and west parts of the valley to reduce individual vehicle use and protect our air quality. Bikeways will be a foundational element of the development, including ensuring safe and convenient bike and pedestrian connectivity to transit. We'll also work to expand the bike sharing network to help alleviate any last mile issues. And we'll also look at locations where we could have car sharing programs. And then to further reduce emissions resulting from vehicles, we'll look to incentivize businesses to have additional electric vehicle charging stations. It's also important to recognize that we are in a bird flyway, and we need to look at mitigating light pollution due to that. We will evaluate guidance from the International Dark Skies Association, which includes the ideas about how we can better use LED outdoor lighting, which would also have significant energy benefits. We'll look to include this area as part of our recycling market zone, which is something we already have in most of our M1 areas, to incentivize businesses to come that use or process recycled products. And finally, much of the planning currently focuses on carbon mitigation, but climate resiliency is going to be important. We need to plan this area looking at what climate models show it will be like in the next 100 years or even longer out. So as we develop the Northwest Quadrant, the city will look to minimize urban heat island effects to help with increasing summertime temperatures in Salt Lake City, enhance stormwater collection to plan for more extreme rainfall events, and to ensure the viability and health of our wetlands and reduce water contamination. So as you can see, we have many opportunities to design a smart and sustainable Northwest Quadrant that will help the community be more energy efficient, dramatically improve our carbon footprint, and attract new businesses, jobs, and investment to our forward-thinking community. Salt Lake City has the ability to capitalize on this moment and to enrich our community from the ground up.